Hey everyone, Ekman here with another video, and today we have a top 8 breakdown for my Fusion World tournament that I held last night. It was capped at 64 players, and it was 6 rounds of Swiss into this top 8 that we see here today. And a couple of things before we get started. First, if you guys like these videos, please make sure to hit that like and subscribe. It really does help the channel, and I would appreciate it, especially if you guys want me to make some more Fusion World content in the future. And I also want to shout out Dane for being my co-caster, as well as Risu for being my judge for this event. I literally would not be able to do this without them. We also did live stream it as well, which you guys can check out for free on YouTube. It's going to be linked in the description as well as on this page. I did have some audio issues. They were on my side. I also did a little bit of testing with Espira a little bit beforehand too. So it's just a really good VOD, and make sure to watch it if you guys want some more Fusion World content. So, but going on into it again, it was a 64 cap. We did hit the cap, which is really exciting. And in the top 8, we did have 4 Vegetas, 2 Aandroidd 17s, 1 Zamasu fused, and 1 Jiren as well. So a lot of Vegetas. I will also say a couple things. One, this was on the online client, which does mean that it is a little bit trickier to get secret rares than it is in real life. So I do think that kind of impacts how many people could play black necessarily, because you do kind of need 3 or 4 copies of the 4-drop secret rare. Vegeta also needs the blue Vegeto 5-drop as well, which might be a little bit tricky to get. So that might affect some ratios for those sides as well. And then also, I don't know if this is affecting this at all, but like the day before the morning before the tournament, I released this good Vegito list that I've been testing a lot of, and I'm not saying that I'm affecting the meta, but I'm saying that people who join my tournaments also watch my videos, so it could be a little bit of an echo chamber of, hey, I think Vegeta is good, so some of my viewers might think Vegeta is good, and so a lot of them brought it, because looking at the leader breakdown, we did have 13 starter deck Vegetas, the most popular leader for this event, and then 7 Bardocks, 7 Beeruses, 5 Goku GT, 5 of the yellow Vegeta, 5 Aandroidd 17, 4 of the blue Goku, 4 Jiren, and then 14 others from there. So honestly, a lot of diversity still for this early meta, which is cool to see. And we'll see what it ends up kind of shaking out to be. We do have the Niagara Regionals this weekend, which is going to be one of the first ones for Fusion World. So FB03 Fusion World, especially first one here in English. So in North America rather. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what goes on there. So, but we're going to go over the top placing list for each leader. We also did have a good amount of unique of the 4-2 leaders too, so I did want to go over those real quick, just since the meta is good and early, and I do think there's some really interesting lists right now from all those, so we do want to look into those. But we're going to go over our first place list, which is Mariano's version of Vegeta, and once again, I think this deck is really strong. If you ask me right now what I think is the strongest leader in this game, I would say Vegeta outright. This list is a little bit different than the one I made my video on the other day, but the core of it is pretty much there. I think the big differences are, one, using the Gallic gun. I'm not always convinced on this card. Sometimes it's good for just ending the game or being defensive, but it also just kind of sometimes it's just kind of rough in hand at times. So I usually like to play like the Kibito 1-drop, but I don't think Gallic is a bad card in any design. We also are running like the Sun Goten 1-drop to choose a 2 or less and return to his owner's hand. So with Vegito on the board, it bounces a 3 or less, so this card can get some value too and be a 10k. It also just happens to be a 1-drop Earthling. We have their Videls and stuff. We have our 2-drop Vegeta, which I wasn't running in my build. I was playing it really, really slow and defensively, but I do respect that sometimes you do want to awaken. I just think that this card is kind of rough in the late game, just because like it's only a 5k and like 20k crit is like critical in late game doesn't really mean as much as it does in the early game. So if you don't see it on curve, that's it's a little bit worse. But like having Vegeta and Videl, I think is good. And then our Vegetas and Gohan Adolescents and 3 Vegetos, which I'm gonna guess that it's hard to get 4 copies of a secret rare on the sim. So if they had a 4th one, maybe they'd run it. But maybe if they only have 3, a 3-3 split with that and Vegeta, I think is fine. But honestly, I think this deck is still just really good. It's really obnoxious right now because they're able to just continually like get out of attacks, and then late game they have the best value in the game between the new Videl card as well as Pilaf. I don't know if Pilaf is needing to be banned right now, but it is obnoxiously clear that this card is really, really good right now, if not broken. So we'll see what the meta turns into, but I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of discussion of, is this card too good to exist right now? And if so, what do we do to change it? But this is the build here for Vegeta, and I'm looking forward to seeing how good it's going to end up being in the next couple weeks as well. But congratulations to Mariano for their finish there. And then next up, we've got Zamasu fused. And so pretty much I was talking to Dane, and Dane says, like, you know what, if we're playing Vegeta like we're playing Zamasu, where we're just being really defensive, getting out of everything, and the only difference is that Vegeta is able to be, when you awaken Vegeta, you're able to be a 35k offensively, which means your opponent's not going to want to awaken you. You're at 5 sometimes, and that's fine. It just means that you're getting to the late game and you're able to play a bunch of your 5 drops a lot of the time. But I think Zamasu is still really good at doing that game plan as well. Being able to be a 25k on the backside and being able to heal is really good too. So I think all that's very great for what this deck is. This is Damien's version, which there are a lot of unique adds, I would say, for this deck. Specifically, we do have like the new Whis. So this is a new card from FB03. Permanent if your life is at 3 or less, it gains blocker, so you get a 1-drop blocker. And then also on play, discard 1 card from your hand, you get to draw 1 card. And it's a 10k, so just generically good for cycling and that kind of stuff, which I think is nice. We have our Trunks Youth. We have the new Sun Goten, which on play, if you have 7 or fewer cards in your hand, you get to draw 1, which is kind of nice. We have the Trunks Future as well. So activate main, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards that cost 2 or less and place at the bottom of its owner's deck. Then place this card at the bottom of its owner's deck too. So it's good removal for early game. Like it's the same as like a Sun Goten bouncing to hand, but instead it goes to the bottom of the deck, so that's not too bad. Obviously it works, it's supposed to be with the Trunks leader, but this still is a good card, I think, as well. And then the rest of the kind of blue package that we know of: Son Gohan Adolescence, Vegeta, and Zeno as well. And then our Sickles, Gallic Gun, and Final Hope Slash. So I think Zamasu is also it's the same as like what Vegeta's trying to do. I think ideally is where you just go, guarantee you get to the late game with a good amount of value, and then you're able to just abuse the fact that Pilaf lets you just get infinite value in the late game and just a lot of pressure too. So I think this deck is in a good spot too. I think Vegeta's a little bit better, but I definitely think Zamasu can get some wins. Congratulations to Damien for their second place there. All right, next up we've got Jiren. So this is Tylor's version of it, and honestly, like, we did have the event in the UK last weekend, and I think a lot of people were really surprised, including myself, that Jiren was able to win the event. And blue seems like such an uphill battle for this deck in a lot of ways, but we did also see it on stream win against blue. They did brick a little bit, but I think it just shows like Jiren, I think, has a lot of potential to be really good, and I like a couple of the pieces from this build in general. So this deck just seems like you just want to go super duper late game and just get to like a lot of pressure and make it so like your opponent doesn't really get a lot of value. So I think cards that help that are one, Son Gohan Adolescence and Katso. Both these cards are just really great at making sure that you get so much removal, and giving the -5s and in getting those abilities are really good. Just being able to be aggressive and remove board. Like Katso on play can get rid of 2 1-drops against something like blue, which is really great. And then being able to, or also like if you need to try to get rid of like a Videl, you play this and then you attack with it, and so it goes into a 10k. So you attack 20 into 10, and then they just lose a lot of value from that too, which I think is nice. So that's really helpful. We have like the Fua as well for just like some more removal potential, which is great. And then also, I think all that's very, very strong. So we are playing like the Tournament Power package. We do have the Tournament Power Arena, which if you're able to play this on curve, this gets so much value over the course of the game. It's kind of crazy how good this is. Obviously, you can be removed from Zeno, but being able to be like a 25k base leader that can turn into a 30k base leader, one spur attack is really great. Spear of Destruction, I think, is a good card too, especially against something like against blue specifically. Being able to use this to get rid of an opponent's card and then deal damage to something like Vegeta, where luckily they go down to 4 and then you put them down to 3 with this, I think is helpful too. We have Rumchi, which has been really strong right now. We do have like the Gokus, the Jiren, and then we also do have this 4-drop Son Goku, which I think I would bump to 2 copies if I was to play this deck, just because the on play to get the -15 is great, but also just the fact that you're able to use this and potentially deal damage late game, especially like blue, you'd be really good at doing that. If they think they're safe, you can use this to do that. Being a 30k is great. It being a 4-drop means it's really removable because a lot of decks are targeting 4-drops right now, but I think it's so strong for what it is. And then we also have our 4-drop Jiren, which if you're not playing against yellow, it's really hard to, say, oh, this is the time to play this card, and then like it stays on the board because it's really, really tricky to do so, unfortunately. So I would be considering, seeing if I can not, I don't know. It's really, really hard to invest time into this because you feel like it's just going to get removed so easily. But once you get it set up, or if you're playing against yellow, it's in a good spot too. So I don't know. I think that Jiren's interesting. I really want to test this deck out a little bit more myself. And just a really big congratulations to Tylor for making it this far as well. So this is the list here. And then to finish up our top 4, we do also have Jonathan with their version of Aandroidd 17. Aandroidd 17 is a good deck, and kind of by default, I think, right now. It was one of the better decks at the end of FB03, and it's just still really good for what this meta is. I do think it gets a little bit more checks. I think red can be a hard matchup with the Jiren. I also think that we're going to have a bit of a hard time against Vegeta sometimes. I think we go about evenish, if not. It is a closer matchup as well, but I do think Aandroidd is still the best green deck by far, mostly just because of this sucker. Aandroidd 17-18 is just such good ramp that you just get to continually use. You also get a 4-drop 20k, so you get to pressure with your ramp card, which is really good, and then you're just able to get to the late game really consistently. So we have our destructive strengths, we have our Aandroidd 17s, we have our Son Gohan childhood as well, being able to use this to remove 4-drops as mentioned. Obviously you can't remove Jiren by itself, but you are able to use it to use it to get the Jiren effect and then attack into it and pressure it. You at least pressure them a little bit. And if you're a 30k leader, like you're getting some value from both those. So I think that's fine. But you're going to see a lot of Aandroidd 17. I think is going to be pretty popular in this meta. It's probably also like the cheapest deck to build outright since half of it's just the starter deck. And then we just have a couple super rares from there. So make sure to check that out. And obviously like the easiest one to build on the client, like by far, you just literally get you just get 2 star decks, you get a couple packs of FB01 to be able to get the Aandroidd 18s and super rares, and then you just use 2 rare tokens if you have them for that. So I think the deck's in a really good spot. You should be, honestly, if you use your like 50 packs from like getting into the game or getting into FB03, you should already have like almost all of this deck, which is pretty good. So anyways, this is the build here, and congratulations to Jonathan for their finish. And then that is all of the unique decks in the top 8. And so again, we did have a couple of X2s, which were technically winning records with better tiebreakers. So I want to go over these 5 decks real quick. So we're going to start off with Jordan's version of Vegeta, and this build's actually really, really interesting, and I honestly want to test this pretty badly. So it's the Wicked Souls version of it, and it's the build that I've been really kind of mentally theory crafting of like, what if we just like never want to awaken and we just stay on our front side as much as possible. You'll see that we don't have 2-drop Frieza at all. We don't have any copies. We barely have any self-awakening besides Bulma and Vegeta, which we likely wouldn't be using for self-awakening that often. We do have 3 copies of Golden Frieza, so permanent your opponent's battle cards with a cost of 5 or more, played in rest mode, and on play you get to KO something. So if we get to late game more often, this card's really good. Also, I think a lot of decks are playing 5-drops, unlike on release where FB02 we had Topku, which just wasn't playing 5-drops, so they're kind of capping out at 4-drops. So I think that's great. We have such good defenses like Death Ball as well as Time Rewound. We have the Energy Absorption, which is such a great card too. Choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, switch it to rest mode. It can switch to active mode during your opponent's next turn. Then if the card has a cost of 1 or more, you get to draw a card. So there's so many good 4-drops for that. Being able to stun something, being able to get the draw is great. And then also the final explosion. So choose all your opponent's battle cards that cost of 3 or less and switch them to rest mode. Then choose up to 2 of your opponent's rest mode battle cards that cost of 4 or less and KO them. So you'd be able to use this to get rid of a wider board potentially. We don't have like a lot of like wide board clears, but I do think this is something good for that. And if you play 2, you can get rid of your opponent's 4-cost Jirens, which is how you can do it. You'd need 6 energy to do so, but you could do it. So I did want to mention that. But in general, I think this deck has a lot of potential. Red's obviously going to be really tough if they're playing Jiren, but I think this is a really interesting deck right now, and I really want to try it. So this is it from Jordan, and thank you for topping with it, because it's really got some gears turning for me, and I want to play it a little bit more. So, but this is the build there, and congratulations. Next up, we've got Cell, and this is Carl's version of it. And I'll be really honest, this is a really obnoxious build. This is just super like just get value, just do not lose the game. And then like we kept looking at his match because we got to time so often with it, but like they were just like never losing. They were just like, it almost felt like you're trying to just mill them out the hard way. There's a lot of decks that just draw a lot right now, specifically in blue, and so you just like get as much value as they do, and then you just don't lose. So we just have like this new Hercule. So on play, if you have 6 more energy, add up to 2 cards with 1 or less than Earthling in their special traits from your drop to your hand. So you can get 2 2Ks, which is super good. Two 1Ks, so you get that's great. We also have this new Bulma as well, so just an Earthling that draws 1. So that's really good. We have like Son Goku, which is not an Earthling, but that's fine. So like these, just being able to get Bulmas is fantastic. We have our Kamis, which is not an Earthling, but it's just a good removal. We have the Cell Junior, which is able to get like back our gigantic meteors, which we're only playing two of, and 2 destructive strengths. Like this is just a wild build. I'll be honest. Like we just don't lose. I think we go to 4 life, and then we just don't awaken our opponent's leader. We just try to draw a lot of cards, and then we just depend on them running out of resources and us playing a lot of these 8-drop cells to be able to heal, but also to be able to remove their board too. So I don't know how I feel about Cell in this format. I think it's a deck that just needs a little bit more or something. But man, when seeing this deck, it was really, really obnoxious. Just watching it just like never run out of resources until like the super late game. It almost milled out a Vegeta, which was really interesting to see too. But this is the build here. Congratulations to Carl for their X2 finish there. And the next up, we've got Bardock, which, this is the new kid on the block, right? And to see it like not, I was really expecting this deck to get at least 1 in the top 8. So it was really interesting to see it not, but this is John's version of it here. And this is kind of pretty close to the build that I've been running personally, of where we're just playing a bunch of these like 1-drop cyclers, and then we just do like our leader's effect is literally just to look at the top of our deck. Sometimes we do hit it with like the Fascia or with like the 2-drop Bardock, which this card's not too bad. With this card's in battle, you have a card in your combo area that gets plus 5k, so it's a 25. You can add up to 1 card from your life to your hand, which is okay too. So I've been playing a lot with this deck, and I've been running the Borgos just because it's a 1-drop, so you can get it back with Hercule if you need like another 10k kind of thing. But I like what this deck does. You get a lot of removal late game with like the Bardock, which is really great. The 10 times Kamehameha is such a good card, and then also Pan GT for being able to bounce cards, which is important against Jiren because you can just bounce their 4-drop back to their hand too. So I don't have much to say. I think this is kind of how Bardock looks like. There are some consistency issues with the deck, but when it goes off, it's very strong. So this is the build here from John. Congratulations for their finish there. And the next up, we've got Beerus. So I'm actually kind of surprised this one didn't top either. If you were to ask me if I thought Jiren or Beerus would top, I would say likely I would expect Jiren to not top and Beerus to top, but we're on this other side here. So we are running like a lot of the new card, like the same packages that Jiren's running, I think, most of the time. We do have the extra removal of like the 1-drop Whis to choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards. It gets minus 5k for the turn, which obviously works well with our leader effect. We are also playing like the new 3-cost Beerus, so obviously to help itself awaken earlier is like this card's actually really good. I wasn't sure how good it was on release, but then more and more I'm playing like we really do need to be awakened as soon as possible as Beerus, and then also using this to go into the 4-drop, or the 5-drop is really strong. So we are playing 4 copies of this guy, and then we do have like the Son Goku, the Broomshi, and the Cochette. So as our super combo, and then 1 copy of Son Goku 4-drop. I really think like this card can be run at like 2 copies now. I think it's just super good at like this, like on play. It's just great. I think it's good against blue. And you just get a lot of value outright too. So even if it's just like to use it to get rid of something and then attack 30k in your opponent's leader, I think that's still strong right now. And I think it's like a little bit better than Jiren in this deck, because I know a lot of people are trying 4-drop Jiren, and it's just like never surviving enough for it to be worth it, I think. So anyways, this is the build here from Josh, and congratulations for their finish there. And then to wrap it up, we do have Son Goku GT, which a couple weeks on release, I thought this was the better of the 2 new black leaders that we got, and this is Zach's version of the build. I do like I think the only thing, like the cute thing the deck gets, is that we get to use our leader ability, and we get to use it on the 4-drop or 3-drop Bardock, and then we get to be, make yourselves a dual attacker kind of a thing, right? With the leader effect, and if you use the marker, you can be a 40k twice very easy, which is really nice for like only 4 energy investment. But anyways, like I don't know. I think Bardock is a little bit better. Being a 25k on offense with the leader for free, I think gets a lot more value right now. I think being able to like the leader effect is maybe like it gets like effects later in the game. Just means like you always are using all your energy, which is nice, but I think it's in a tough spot. We also are playing like 4 copies of 10 times Kamehameha, which is I do agree this card is good, but maybe that's a little bit a lot. But I think like blue really hates to see that card, so I think that's fair. We have like a good amount of cycle, and then like our top end again of 4 of the Son Goku GT and 4 of the Bardocks too. So obviously the card pool for black's not super wide right now, since it did just get released. But I do think this is pretty much what we got to run for the deck. We got to play 4 of each super rare, and then the secret rare 4 of, and then we have a bunch of our 1-drops to get a lot of value from there too. But this is Zach's build. Congratulations for their finish there. And that's going to be it for me. So again, if you guys want to check out any of the deck lists, they're on my website, Eggman Events, which is linked to the description. And then also, if you guys want to see the games, they're linked to the description as well. They're on YouTube for free to watch if you guys want to do that. So again, thank you so much to Dane and Risu for helping me for this tournament. I would not be able to do that without them. I'm going to see if I can do another one of these. It's going to be more if there's interest for it, and if there's maybe we'll get some product for it. But these are super fun to run, and I'm happy to do that for y'all. So that's going to be it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you all next time.